Hi friends, it has happened again. I am in a bit of a funk. I'm just coming off the high of vacation and being with my family and doing all the fun summer things. We're back home now and I'm just finding myself doing really bad habits, doom scrolling, being a couch potato, watching endless hours of TV, doing all the bad things. And you know, there's a time and place for all that stuff and it's absolutely fine to sometimes ride the wave if you're feeling kind of funky, but it's been about a week now and I'm just ready to snap out of it. And so I think what I'm going to do is try to get outside a little bit, do some mindful activities, spend some time with my boys, but also do a reading challenge for myself because I find that whenever I do reading, it really does put me in a better headspace and a better mindset than when I'm just like endlessly scrolling my phone for no reason. So this week I'm going to be doing a challenge to read 200 pages a day, which takes me, I think, about 2 and a bit hours. So if every day in the evenings or the mornings I can use whatever free time I have from my busy schedule to do some reading instead of all that other stuff, I think it'll be really good for my mindset. So on the roster, we have 6 books because I wanted to give myself a lot of options to not get bored and to not find an excuse to not meet the daily 200. And 200 is just a random number. It was gonna push myself a bit. I think 2 and a bit hours of reading every day is a lot to ask for, but I think it'll be really good for me. So that's the number that I picked. And the books I have on my list are Normal People. This is by Sally Rooney, of course. I've been putting off her books for so long. I think it's time that I finally read it and see what the hype is. Then I have Sweet and Sour, which is a middle grade book. I've been wanting to read it all summer because it has very summery vibes. And so I'm hoping it'll be a quick read and a bit of fun and some lightness into all this funk that I've been having. And then also Rewire Your Anxious Brain. So I started reading this a while ago and then I just stopped, but I remember I really liked it because I tabbed it a little bit, but I think I'm going to start over from the beginning because I've forgotten what the first couple of chapters are about. So I'm going to start at the beginning and see what happens. I suffer from anxiety and I'm really hoping this book is going to change how I approach it. And if it's really good, then I think I might make a video to share some anxiety tips with all of you if you're interested, but we'll see how that one goes. And then I have 2 graphic novels, 2 middle grade graphic novels. I hauled these recently in a middle grade book haul that I did last week, and I have been dying to get to these. They just look so cute, and they're part of a bigger series of 4 books, but I put 2 on this list just to give myself some options. And these are graphic novels, and graphic novels are really great if you're doing reading challenges and you want to throw in something light and easy that you can fly through just to give yourself, you know, that inspiration and motivation to keep reading. So I have these 2. And then the last one I have is on my Kindle because sometimes before bed I'll pick up my Kindle. So I wanted to give myself an option there, and I also wanted a romance option. So I'm going to be reading Mile High, and everyone loved that book. It's a hockey romance, which I haven't read in a while. So I'm really excited about that because it's also dual POV, so it should be easy to fly through and hopefully grab my attention. So I wanted to give myself a lot of different options. I'm really excited because I think it's time to just get out of this funk and do some reading and power through my TBR. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see how the week goes. So let's go. The second day now. I would say yesterday was a success. It was day 1 and I did manage to read over 200 pages. I wasn't on my phone. I didn't watch much TV because I was so worried about getting through the 200 pages. So I like totally cut everything out and just focused on reading. And it was kind of nice actually to like turn off all that noise in my head. So I managed to make some progress on 3 books. I'm just looking at my computer here where I made some notes. So I started with Mile High. This is that hockey romance about Xander and Stevie. I love the dual POV. Xander seems like the typical kind of jock sports player, lots of money, very cocky, all the things. And Stevie's a little bit more reserved. She has some body image issues. I like the representation there, but she's a little feisty around the edges. So it reminds me of myself a little bit, like very sweet, but kind of feisty around the edges if you push her. So I'm liking it so far. I've only read about 79 pages, so just enough to like get me interested in the characters. Not a ton of plot has developed, so we'll see how that one goes. The next book I picked up was Normal People. I picked this up last night after everyone went to bed, which I don't know if was a good idea because I think I was really tired, and so this book seemed even trippier than it is. So if you've read this, you know Sally Rooney's writing is really quirky. She doesn't have like quotation marks around her dialogue, which is really weird, and I'm not sure I'm ever gonna get used to that. But this story is about Marianne and Connell, and it's kind of like them growing up through high school, their equivalent of high school, and then going to college together, and the back and forth of their relationship. So I get that it's trying to be like very ordinary, everyday life type of dialogue and commentary on the plot. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it so far. I don't know if I'm gonna be one of those people that loves it or hates it, but we'll see what happens. I'm interested enough to keep going. It's quirky and weird, but not so much that I want to put it down. I do want to see how it goes, so we'll see how I get on with it today. And then the last book I read yesterday, a little bit of, just a couple of chapters to get introduced, is Sweet and Sour, that middle grade that I said I was going to read because I just wanted something light peppered in there. This story is about two kids who spend all their summers together with their families in Mystic, Connecticut, and something happened several summers ago where they stopped talking and he moved away to Japan. And the chapters are written really interestingly, so it's sweet and sour chapters. It's like past, present, something good, something bad. So I like it. It's a little quirky, very sweet and easy to read, as most middle grades are. So I'm excited about having this one in the roster as well. Hopefully I'll make some more progress on it today. But yeah, I read a total of 207 pages yesterday, so challenge completed. Let's see how I go today. It is now day 3, halfway through day 3. I wanted to give an update on my reading from yesterday and then what I've been able to do so far today. It has just been the gloomiest weekend, which sucks for doing things outside and getting things done in the summertime, but for reading's sake, it's really great weather to just stay cuddled up inside and get through some reading. So the universe is like trying to nudge me along with my challenge, which I've been thankful for, so it's doing its part. Yesterday, I have my computer here where I made some notes. So yesterday I was able to read a bit more in Mile High, read about 45 pages in that one, and I am really liking it so far. The plot has developed a bit more, and I'm learning a bit more about the characters. I do like both of them. The male lead is interesting because he's like that cocky sports jock kind of guy, and he knows it, but it's also like quite cute and endearing. Like, it's just enough to like reel you back in. He'll make, show you just enough of like his heart and the softer sides of him, but he is still kind of like that jockey, kind of like, knows he's all that kind of a character. But it's intriguing and I like him. I also really like Stevie as a main female character. She is not typical. She doesn't have the typical body. She doesn't have the typical mindset on all these things and sports and all that. So I really like her. She's quite strong and fierce as a main character, and I like them together. I think they do have a lot of chemistry and it reads really well. So I'm really enjoying myself with that. And then I also read some more in Normal People. So I read about 105 pages in this yesterday, and I'm hoping to finish it today because I'm kind of over this book, if I'm being very honest with you. I think there's a lot of like miscommunication between the two characters, and I don't love that. I don't love when there's miscommunication. I understand that that's like very normal and it happens in real life all the time, but I just don't appreciate like when romantic interests do that. Like, I know they're young, I know they're adolescent, like they're early kind of 20s, and this kind of stuff happens in relationships, so I understand what she's trying to do and convey, but it's just annoying to read. And the quotes thing, I'll never get over. I don't like that there's no quotes around her dialogue. It's just not something you can get used to, at least not me. I will finish it. I'm not going to DNF it. I still think it's interesting enough for me to finish and see how I really feel, but I think I'm going to lean towards Sally Rooney maybe not really being my vibe, but we'll see how that goes. I'll get my full thoughts at the end of the month in my wrap-up video, or maybe, maybe it's just not the time in my life for Sally Rooney. I can appreciate what she's trying to do, and I can appreciate how literary fiction like this can appeal to people, but I think maybe right now this is just not my jam. I also managed to read a bit in Rewire Your Anxious Brain. I remembered why I started tabbing it because there are some really great nuggets in here. I think I will make a separate video to share some of the tips that come out of this, because I've always approached my anxiety from the angle of like, do yoga, meditate, do mindful things, but this is giving me kind of the scientific basis on why your anxiety functions in certain ways. And so I really like that aspect, and I'd love to share some of my tips with you all if it's helpful. So yesterday I read altogether 210 pages, which means that I completed the challenge for yesterday. And today I read a bit more in Mile High and Your Anxious Brain. And I think if I finish up Normal People today, then that should put me over the 200 pages for today as well. So far, so good. I am loving this headspace that I've gotten. I've not been craving TV. I've not been, just wanting to scroll on my phone. So it actually has been really nice, and I already feel myself resetting a little bit. So I'm really excited about that aspect of this challenge, and the books have been interesting as well. So we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Hey friends, I think it is now day 5. It's been a couple of days. I wanted to give you an update on how things are going. So the last time I left off, I think we left off in the middle of day 3. So day 3 stats, I ended up reading 195 pages, so just shy of meeting my marker, but I made some good progress in Mile High. Love that book, have nothing but good things to say about it. It's a great romance to just kind of take your mind away and be enthralled in a world, and it's really, great characters, great plot. It's got enough going on that you're interested. It's moving at a decent pace. So if you're looking for a good romance, I would recommend that one. I'm chugging along slowly, but I was able to finish Normal People on the 3rd day, and not my jam. I'm gonna give it a 3 stars because I see what she's trying to do, but what she's trying to do is not for me. And that's what I've realized about this book. Now, I will say I'll give another one of her books a chance because I think I like elements of it, but I'm not completely sold on her whole brand and drinking the Kool-Aid just yet. So I might give it another chance, but in a while. I think I'm ready to take a break, but I gave it 3 stars. I'll give you more thoughts in my wrap up, but I did finish that. And then I managed to read a bit more of this on day 3. I am loving this. Like I said, it's giving me a different approach to my anxiety. I'll definitely be creating a video on this, so look out for that if you're interested in some of those tips. So day 3, we managed to read 195 pages. Day 4, which was yesterday, I failed epically because it was a Monday, and Mondays are rough. They are rough from every single angle. Work was busy, life was busy, all the things were busy. So I only managed to read 162 pages, which by any standards, that's still pretty decent. I mean, I did get through a little bit of reading, a bit more in Anxious Brain, and then I actually also started this novel, which is so cute, and I am loving it so far. I read a bit earlier today as well, as you saw, and I just graphic novels, I never really gave them a chance before. I don't know why, but they're so sweet, and they're great for jolting a bit of inspiration. If you're kind of feeling like a lull or a drag in your reading, then picking one of these up is really great. But yesterday I read a tiny bit of this and Mile High as well. I was gonna pick up the other middle grade, but just wasn't feeling it. Like I said, super busy day, so I didn't get around to it. And then today, this morning, because yesterday was such a fail, I decided to start my reading early. So this morning I was able to read a bit more in Mile High. These 2 characters are just so likable. I really like Stevie and Xander's. I really like them and I like the plot. So chugging along on that. I'm gonna finish Awkward probably today. It's so easy to read. And then I might be ready to add a new book to the roster because I don't know if I'm feeling that middle grade, that Sweet and Sour that I mentioned. So I might be picking up Fourth Wing, and everyone's been going on about that. So I feel like dropping everything and just picking that book up. And I am doing a separate reading vlog for that. I want to share all my thoughts on it because it's been a while since I picked up a fantasy that like really grabbed my attention, and the community has been raving about it. So I think I'm going to pick that one up as soon as I finish these and then do my reading vlog for that. So day 3, I said 195 pages, day 4, 162. We'll see how today goes, but I am determined to get back to reading that 200 page mark and finishing this challenge on a good note. I have 2 more days to go, tomorrow and the day after. If I can manage to read 200 on those days, I think we'll still get over that 1,000 page mark for this week, which is incredible because that's all I wanted to do, was just to spend more time reading. So it doesn't matter what the actual number turns out to be, but 1,000 is pretty impressive. So I'm really excited about doing that. Now day 8. My challenge concluded yesterday, but I didn't have a chance to give the update at the end of the day because that's how long it took to read my 200 pages for yesterday. So the week is complete now, and I have to say I had so much fun this week, really pushing myself and pushing those boundaries on how much I could read every day. And the first couple of days were really tough, and then I went through kind of a tough few days with Monday and Tuesday, the beginning of the work week, and then I finished with a bang. So let's talk numbers, and then we can get into the books I read and some of the things I learned about myself and my reading habits this week. So I'm just gonna pull up my notes here and let's do a recap. So day 1, I read a total of 207 pages. That was in Mile High, Normal People, and Sweet and Sour, the middle grade. I'll talk about the books here in a second, but day 2, I completed 210 pages. Day 3, 195, so close but not all the way. Day 4 was my epic fail day. That was 162 pages, but it's a Monday, so I give myself some grace for that. Day 5, I read 206 because I was determined to get back on the wagon. Day 6, 216 pages, and then day 7, 240. So that gives me a grand total of 1,436 total pages read last week, and I am so thrilled. I mean, a number is just a number at the end of the day, but the fact that I was able to do 200 pages on most days is incredible. I mean, I got more reading done than I have in a very long time, and my month of July is off to a really solid start so far, and I've been able to crank through some of the things on my TBR list. So all good things. And on top of that, I wasn't watching TV, I wasn't doom scrolling on my phone, all the things that were kind of contributing to my funk at the beginning of last week and the week before that. So I will say, from the standpoint of making me feel a little reset and a little bit more like, you know, space in my mind of just some of those things, this has been a complete success. Now, reading 200 pages every day, 2 and a bit hours, is a little bit of a stretch for me in my life. I know a lot of people can do that every day, but for me, with just juggling a job and a little one and a husband and life and all the things, it's not plausible. So on some of the days, I was really pushing myself to get to that number. So I don't think it's sustainable for every single day of my life. I would love if I could read 200 pages a day every single day, but that's just not going to happen for me. But I will say I could see myself doing this challenge again in the future because it did wonders for, like, you know, snapping me out of that funk and just getting in a good headspace and just like being in a different world and being far away and all the things that I needed at this time in my life. So for that, I am really thankful that I did it. Like I said, I could see myself doing this again again later in the year or any other time that I'm feeling a little bit funky. So for that, I would recommend it. If you want to try something out this week, do a little reading challenge for yourself and see if you can push yourself to read a bit more, just to kind of give you some mind space and some, you know, separation from all the noise that exists. So the books I was able to get through this week are Mile High on my Kindle. Loved it so much, 5 stars. Normal People by Sally Rooney. I gave this one 3 stars. And then 2 graphic novels, Awkward and Brave. These are part of a series. I love these so much. They are so cute. I gave these 5 stars both, and I have a feeling I'm going to give the other 2 5 stars as well, which I will be reading later this week. I also read a bit in Rewire Your Anxious Brain. I am loving this, tabbing it a lot again, and there's so many good little tips and tricks. I think I will try to make a video on this to see if it helps anyone else conquer their anxiety from a different viewpoint. I am really enjoying that. I read a little bit in Sweet and Sour. This is that middle grade. I have enjoyed it so far. I don't know if it's reading like a 5 star. I'll probably give it between 3 and 4, but still enjoyable. I will finish this before the end of the month. And then my favorite thing, oh my goodness, yesterday, you guys, I started reading Fourth Wing, which is so exciting. It has been on my TBR for a while. The community is going wild. I couldn't get my hands on it for the longest time, and now I finally have a copy. So yesterday I started reading this, and I'm going to be making a separate reading vlog for this, which will probably be the next video that comes out, so look out for that, because I'm going to be sharing some of my reactions and thoughts and feelings and all the things about all the dragons. I cannot wait to dive into this world, so look out for that. So altogether, a really great reading week and so many good books that came out of it. 1,400 pages. I love that for me, and I challenge you to do it as well, so you can love that for you. But thank you so much for watching this week, and I will catch you next time.